Let's explore what online dating during quarantine looks like for Caribbean Canadian singles in the city of Toronto, specifically the Six. So we will be discussing dating platforms, online dating etiquette, so dress wear, setting, ambiance, investment, time, money, effort. How much of this are you putting in? Conversations. So what are the convo starters? What's the conversation flow? Any repetition? And much more. Stay tuned for dating during COVID-19. Hey family, Joanne here from the Caribbean Women's Society. I'll be speaking with Angela, which is a member of the Caribbean Canadian Chamber of Commerce, also known as C5, representing Jamaica. So Angela will let us in on what her experience has been dating during COVID-19. And to my surprise, it's not so much online dating, but rather face-to-face interactions with the mask on. So let's explore a little bit more what her experience has been like while dating during COVID-19. COVID-19 has definitely had its impact on everybody so far. So I'm looking to explore what Caribbean Canadians across the city, especially singles across the city, are experiencing when it's coming to dating, because hence, we've all been in lockdown, right? So
right.
I'm trying to see if there's anything, that's, I guess, possibly increased in terms of online dating. So I'm trying to see, if Caribbean Canadian singles have been exploring that avenue a little bit more. Oh, hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So I'm just trying to see if Caribbean Canadian singles are exploring the online dating platform a little bit more, or are there still in-person encounters? Because obviously there's still some restrictions, but people are still going out there and meeting people. And I know you mentioned to me earlier that it looks like you've been meeting people in person with your face mask on and all that. So tell me a little bit about how that's going.
It's been interesting. So just first of all, I tried online dating a couple years ago, and just for me, found that, I don't know, maybe it was just the people that I happened to be attracting. They just didn't seem to be having the same types of goals I was in terms of relationships.
Right.
So, because at this point in my life, I really don't have time to be playing games, basically.
Right.
So I found a lot of people were, so I kind of ventured away from the online dating. But COVID.
And Angela, do you mind me asking what is your age range?
Yeah, I'm 44.
Okay. Right. So at this point, you're looking for something serious. You're not playing around.
Yeah, had the play around years already, did that, previously married as well. So, it's time to grow up, so to speak, right?
Right.
And do something a bit more serious, or at least have the same type of goals in terms of that.
Right.
And then go from there.
Understood.
So I might venture back into online dating at some point. I'm definitely not closed off to it. I think maybe I didn't choose the right places to go. I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Right.
Haven't really actively decided to go back on there as yet. But COVID and in-person meetings has been crazy, which is really funny, because you think okay, I'm on the street. I've got my I've got my face mask on. Maybe I'm wearing mascara, but really the makeup game is not on point.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to be getting the attention, it's funny to me. I just find it funny.
Right. So you're saying at most you're wearing just like mascara kind of thing, right? Because you know what? Funny enough that you say that, very quickly, I was watching this tutorial on a girl that was saying, look, since we're going to be wearing these face masks, let's try to play up the eye makeup game, right? To make it that much more, I guess, appealing, right? Because, hey, look, everybody's going to be seeing your eyes a lot more than, the rest of your face. So I thought that was interesting. But you're saying you're just doing the mascara, and I guess you're just, dressing according to where you're going, right?
Right. And it's been, I haven't really, so I've been working from home, obviously because of COVID. So really my encounters on the street have been me either running to get groceries or going to a doctor's appointment.
Right.
That's been it.
Right.
But I mean, just funny things. Like I was standing at the bus stop one day and this man stops his SUV in the middle of the street and says to me, "Do you need a ride?"
What?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, we're in a pandemic here, so
Right.
that's probably not what I would like to do at this point in time, right? Plus, I don't want to take a random ride from someone and lose my liver in the process, because you never know things are going on.
Right.
But yeah, just I feel like the men are more bold. I met another one again in my face mask, and he had a good vibe about him, so we exchanged numbers.
Okay.
And
then where did you guys
just really,
was it at the at a grocery store or
in the subway station?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So literally I was about to get on a bus and go home, and he started talking to me in the subway station. So, you know, we sat a few seats away from each other and we're talking, and he seemed interesting.
Right.
So we exchanged numbers, and then he just it went left after that.
Oh, happened.
He just decided, I guess maybe he was a little too focused on his goals of what he was pursuing, which you could tell was something long term. Like that, I picked up that vibe, but he just came across as, this is what you're going to be doing now, kind of thing. And he had this whole list of things and rules for me.
So he had like a preset list of expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yes. I felt like, I mean, at the time I was thinking, okay, I get it. You can have your preset expectations and what you're looking for and be upfront about it, but you don't even know my last name.
Right.
You know nothing about me. Basically, it was hi, da 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 kind of thing, and I was just like, oh.
So he right. So okay. So if I'm understanding this correctly, he just basically it's almost like he introduced himself and then went right in for the kill. Like, this is it. This is what I want. This is what I need. Yada yada yada.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, but it wasn't even along the lines of, this is what I need. This was like, this is what you are going to do.
Right. But right.
Right. Because it would be different if he said, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need my female to do, or whatever,
right.
my woman to do. But he was basically like, you are going to be doing this.
Wow. And so can I, just out of curiosity, what are a couple of things that he like specifically made as a request to you?
I had to stop eating meat.
Oh, is he a vegan? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
So he was like, you have to stop eating meat. You have to I have to fast and pray on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay. So there was dietary
so
restrictions and like religious expectations or spiritual expectations.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And he was
and I thought, well, and I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I want to say too. I mean, I highly doubt he would even be on this type of platform anyway.
Right.
But I mean, just looking at him, you could tell that he followed a certain religion or spirituality.
Right.
You could see that.
Right.
That was very obvious.
Right.
But I mean, I don't exude any of that to make someone think that, okay, Angela, you know what, you're going to be down for these expectations or these things that I'm putting upon you. Like, there was nothing about me that would say she would be okay with this.
Right. Understand. Right. Wow. And so when you were getting all these requests, how did you, I guess, let him know, like, look, this is not going to work out? Like, how did it end up? And rather, how long did you guys continue speaking for?
So literally, I met him on a Thursday afternoon. That evening, we probably had 2 or 3 messages between us, and then that was it. And then Friday was when he really went into everything.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought, because I try to be a reasonable person, and I do well, before COVID anyway, I did deal with the public a lot. So I know that people might come across as different to what they're trying to, or different to how they actually are. So I like to give people a chance.
Right.
So I like to be patient and just, okay, let me ask you, you know, some probing questions and feel you out and see really where you're coming from. So I tried to do that.
Right.
But he just kind of, it was just almost as if I was just jumping deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole.
Right.
Because as I asked more questions, he just got more intense with it. And okay, your dresses have to be down to your ankles and you have to tie your hair and just all kinds of things.
Right.
And so really and truly our encounter lasted until Friday evening, at which point I said to him, the last thing I said to him was, okay, listen, when you're pursuing a relationship, you need to ask questions as opposed to just talking, so that you can find out whether or not the person will actually be down for the things that you're saying and whether or not this is a person that you would want to take the conversation to that level to.
Right.
And I was like, you've said all these things to me and I understand what you're saying, but you have to keep in mind that you haven't even known me for 24 hours yet.
And he's making all these expectations. So
he's making all these expectations.
Right. Like this is almost telling of his personality type. He has to be like the one that's in control.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
100%.
Right.
So literally Friday evening, I was like, okay, listen, I appreciate the energy. I appreciate the compliment of you approaching me. However, I don't think that this is something that we will pursue any further. And I blocked him.
Right. Good for you. Honestly, it takes, you know, it's crazy, right? Because like, you know, again, I'm sure when you first met him, it was like, oh, like almost refreshing, right? Like, okay, there's like an energy here. It looks like, you know, there's a little bit more to explore. And then, you know, kaboom, now you kind of like have a little bit more of a, you know, a few more words to exchange, and then it's like, whoa, now this was something that you could have never probably even figured out, right? Like in the first couple of minutes that you met him, right? So yeah, it's just, again,
absolutely not, no.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, wow, this is interesting. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's almost like he took off his mask. I was wearing a mask. He wasn't. But it seemed like we switched and, you know, all of a sudden he wasn't wearing his mask. And I was sitting there like, who is this person?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's such a good way of putting it. Like, yeah, he fully took his mask off and you're like, okay, this is it. We're done here.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand. Well, I think that's actually pretty cool. Have you since met anybody like in person?
I did meet one more on the bus.
Right.
Right. Seems to be the hookup central. I don't know.
Exactly. But, that's really good. Well, I mean,
I met someone else on the bus, but he again, it didn't pan out. So.
Oh, okay, I understand. Well, how do you find like the convo starters? Like, how do they do you find yourself approaching these folks, or are they coming to you? Like, how are the convo starters?
Well, they're actually approaching me.
Okay.
And they use the pandemic to their advantage, so they will make a comment about it.
Really? Oh, what's that?
And that's their icebreaker. Yeah, like one of them was literally the one. Okay, so the one I actually entertained him for about 3 weeks, and then realized, okay, I can't deal, and had to tell him politely, look, just don't call me anymore. It's okay, we're good.
Right.
We're good over here, right? But he actually started the conversation on the bus with, well, how do you date during this pandemic thing?
Really?
That was his conversation starter.
Right off the gate?
Right out the gate. I sat, like he was sitting at the back of the bus and I sat like a row ahead.
Right.
But we were diagonal from each other so we could actually see each other.
Wow.
And he just started off with, how do you date? Like he was very nonchalant and casual about it. He's like, how do you date during this pandemic thing? And he's like shrugging his shoulders and, you know, how? And I was like, you don't. That's what I said. I literally said to him, you don't. And then he said to me, well, you know, we have to do the whole 2-week quarantine thing. And I said, yes. And he said, so you should give me your phone number so that we could talk to each other during quarantine to make sure that neither one of us has the virus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very bold. Very bold.
Very bold. I was like, you're very slick.
Right. Oh, you know? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then that, like, after the 3 weeks, you're like, okay, I'm done. This is just too much.
Yeah. He just became, it's funny, and it's going to sound really odd, I guess, maybe coming from a female, because I guess we're supposed to play the role, but he seemed very clingy.
Oh, yes. And I know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, and I get it. People have a lot of time now. So, you know, they don't really, I'm still working during this time. So my schedule hasn't changed except for the fact that I don't commute.
Right.
Whereas he wasn't working anymore. So he, I guess, couldn't understand why I don't have time to be on the phone all day and things like that. So.
Yes. Okay. So, right. So if we had to like break down like his level of clinginess, like it was like he wanted to be on the phone 24/7.
Yeah. Or constantly in some type of communication, whether it's on the phone or by messaging. Or,
I understand. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a lot. Like, you know, I think, you know, as people and as individuals, we still need our personal space, right? So yeah, there definitely has to be like a healthy boundary on how much time we're spending on, you know, like how much time we're investing into each other, right? So
right.
I could totally understand that. Now, I know you mentioned in the past that you have done online dating and that it wasn't something like you found that the platform is kind of not really your cup of tea, but that you're not really closed off to it. Is that something that you would be willing to explore this time around, or you're still kind of like, nah, I'm okay. I'm still kind of like you're just not there yet?
I don't think I'm there yet to really look at doing the online thing again.
Right.
Yeah, it just felt like a lot of I dated 3 people through online dating.
Right.
And I think that has just made me, I mean, I walked out of the third one thinking, okay, you know what, Ange, maybe you do need to just meet people in person.
Right.
And maybe it'll have a different dynamic to it that way, right? But I mean, it's really hard for me to say right now. I know I'm not closed off to the idea of online dating. I just don't think that I would be that person that's going to go and make a profile and, you know, put myself out there like that at this point in time.
I understand 100%. Now, can I ask what were the dating platforms that you used, or like was there one in particular, or did you use like a variety?
It was one in particular. It was on Facebook.
Oh, okay. What platform is that?
It was a group. It was just a singles group.
Oh, okay, I see. That's cool. So like it was like singles around the city, right?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That's really cool. Well, that's interesting. And so like there you met like those 3 individuals. Oh, okay, I see. And so did you like how long was like the 3 different interactions that you had, like which one lasted the longest and what ended up happening there?
The one that lasted the longest, let me think here now. Lasted about 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months. I think it was around 4 months.
Right.
It lasted. But then he just said, you know what, I'm not in the mind space to date. I have to just work on some things
for himself. Okay.
So which was fine. I understand that. I would rather have somebody go and fix themselves and then come back. Well, not necessarily to me, but at least put yourself back out there once you're okay with whatever things that you have going on mentally or whatever.
I could totally respect that, for sure.
Yeah, I respected that. I actually did. I really respected that. The second one, it lasted a month.
Right.
And he switched, like, you know how you have your you have your conversations where you try to figure out if you guys are on the same playing field. Like, do you
Yes.
want any more children? You know,
Right.
what are your goals? Where are you going? He switched a major one. So it was the children one, right? I have a daughter, she's grown. I'm not looking to have any more at this point in my life. And he was on the same page. And then he switched and said, no, I want to have a child.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
yeah.
Right. And so
And
those
he's older
are
than
very...
me. So that kind of made me think like, well,
No way.
I have nothing
Okay.
against older parents, but I don't want to be an older parent. I
Right.
don't. I've raised mine. She's old enough to do her own thing. I'm not looking to go back into having to change diapers.
Right. So what would you say are deal breakers for you? So it sounds like that's one, right? Like
that's definitely one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The children thing is definitely one. I'm learning now that I'm not trying to psychoanalyze anyone, but I feel like they have to have some type of a good relationship with their parents or the people that raised them, but not have issues against their parents if they were raised by someone else.
Right.
I think that's huge.
That's very interesting. Sorry, because you're saying so many great things here.
I'm so sorry. I'm a talker.
No, but that's really good. So, I'll come back to the deal breakers in a couple minutes. But because you spoke about family or parents rather, right? And I know earlier you mentioned that again we're targeting Caribbean Canadians, but I know specifically you are of Jamaican descent. Now, when it comes to the Caribbean morals and values, I know family is a really big thing for us, right? So do you want to elaborate a little bit more, from your perspective, how that has influenced you, being of a Caribbean heritage or, Caribbean background?
Well, I wouldn't really be able to speak on all Jamaicans, or, their backgrounds. But I know for me, growing up, the family nucleus was very important.
Right.
So I'm blessed to have been close to both of my parents, and my parents are still together. Right. And we are very close. So that to me is important.
Right.
I know people will tend to look in at my life and how I am with my parents, and it'll be totally foreign to them because they're not close to theirs. And I get that. I don't expect everyone to have the same experience as me, but to just be like, shun the family, or the family is, you're too interactive with the family. That stuff just seems really foreign to me. And even I used to spend a lot of my childhood in Jamaica. So it's not to say that, I was born here and didn't do anything Jamaica wise. My parents made sure we knew our culture. They made sure we were embedded. Literally our family vacations, we'd go to Jamaica for 5 weeks in the winter, for Christmas.
Right.
And my parents would drop us off at my grandparents' house, and they would go on the resorts and do their thing. Right. So we were basically with the grandparents, with the cousins, with the aunts and uncles, and we were not treated any differently.
Right.
So it was their life became our life for that time period. Exactly. So yeah, to me, family is just really important. And from what I've seen growing up, it seems to be the normal thing, at least in the places where I've been in Jamaica.
Right. Now, it sounds like you have a very good foundation or a good understanding of your heritage, right? Or your background, as a Jamaican, Jamaican descent, right? And again, just celebrating the Caribbean heritage. How important is it for you to have somebody that is of Caribbean background as well, or that's or either Caribbean born? How important is that to you? Or are you flexible? Are you open to just anybody? And if that's the case, again, how much value do you place on knowing thyself, if for lack of better words?
I have dated outside of even outside of my race,
right?
And I've dated outside of the Caribbean. I just tend to get along better,
right,
with people of Caribbean descent or background. Yes. And to be honest with you, for the longest while, after having dated outside of my race and after doing all of that exploring, for the longest while I thought, okay, if he's not Jamaican, I don't want any part of it.
Right.
So that was me for a while, and then over time it's been okay. If you're Caribbean, we can get along. But culture is huge to me, and it's important. It's so important to me. I think that would
Right.
be a deal breaker if we were to go back to your other questions. It would be a deal breaker, especially if
Yeah.
someone doesn't know themselves and they don't understand their culture, or they bash their culture and they have this whole self-hatred thing going on. I don't have the time for that. I can't heal anybody. I'm not
Right.
out here to fix anyone. So
Right.
yeah, it
Yeah,
would be a
no,
deal breaker for
understood.
me.
Okay, very cool. All right. Any other a couple of deal breakers or other deal breakers?
Uh, I think if he doesn't like music,
Okay.
there'd be a
Yeah,
problem, because
for
music is
sure.
such a major part of, like, if I have a choice between the television and the stereo, I'm going to turn on the stereo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Understood. Any
Um,
anything else?
but otherwise, not really.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much flexible with the other things, because I would like to have somebody that has a life outside of me. I don't need to be
Right.
your be all end all, right? So, there's other things that you're into that I'm not into. Well, while you're doing whatever you're into, I'll be doing whatever I'm into. And then we'll
Right.
we'll come back together after that. So I don't really have any other deal breakers, so to speak.
Right.
Um, because you're gonna, through your normal filtering out process, you're gonna, if he's not working, or if he's not, self-sufficient in whatever way, you're going to filter that out automatically. So I wouldn't really put that into a deal breaking thing, because at the same time, people do go through things where they lose jobs and things like that. So you can't even really look
Right.
at, their source of income as a major thing
Right.
in
Right.
this type of environment. So
Right. Like you're speaking specifically like during now, especially during COVID-19, right?
not only during COVID-19, although I
Okay.
think COVID-19 definitely highlights it, but if you look at it and how companies are with their hiring process, they're not really hiring people long term anymore.
Okay.
It's mostly contract work. You're gonna do this job for a 2-year contract or for a 6-month contract. So
Okay.
there's a lot more opportunities to be in between jobs at this point.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Um, I actually have one more question that's coming to
Mm-hmm.
mind. What would be an ideal quarantine date look like? Like, what would that look like for you? Like, what
Oh
would be
gosh.
ideal? Like, if you were to like sit here and daydream about like what that perfect, um, you know, um, like perfect, that
Ooh.
perfect encounter, the perfect, setup, like how would that look like?
Well, that's such a good question. We have to socially distance ourselves at the end of the day, just for our own safety and things like that. So I guess the perfect quarantine date would have to be something along the lines of, maybe I make myself a meal and he makes himself a meal, and I get dressed up in my best and he gets dressed up in his,
Right.
and we have like a video call date. That's probably the best thing I could think of at this point.
Right.
Because where can you go? I mean, you can go to a park, I guess, but
Oh yeah, definitely. You can go to a park,
right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really hard to say. Um, it's really hard to say what dating actually, the actual act of going on a date looks like now.
Now, yeah, exactly. It's true.
You know.
Mind you, there are restrictions on certain parks too. So yeah, understood for sure.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
different. Yeah.
But I mean, if you
But
go for a coffee, do you stand under a tree and have a conversation? Like, do you sit on a bench somewhere? Right? Like, really and truly, what is there to do at this
yeah,
point, right? Or do you
right.
sit on a bus and just keep riding the bus up and down, and although that might actually be interesting,
Exactly.
to
It
get
probably
on a
would
bus
be.
and people watch and something,
But, right, exactly.
you
You
know.
never know. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I like that. So just like a nice little
Hmm.
ambiance and yeah. just to have time to like just really connect, right? That would be the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd think, I mean, you would think that this time, especially, well, for people who are dating and they probably passed the whole icebreaker stage and all that, um, you would think that at this time they have more opportunity to actually slow down and be present in the moment with each other and dig deeper and get to know each
Hmm.
other on a better level than you would with all the other background noise going on. Right?
Right. Yeah, no, that's actually very true. I like that. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
During this time, it probably is even more like there's probably more fruit, if anything, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
like, yeah, connect and really get to know each other. So that's
Yeah.
yeah, good point. Good point. But
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Angela. Honestly, like you've had so many great stories and like super interesting. You know what? I love the fact that again, you've been meeting people actually like in person, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
you know, in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, what are the odds, right? Because again, everybody's so like, you know, it's a very sensitive time, right? You know, people are trying to
Mm-hmm.
do the social distancing, trying to stay 2 feet apart, and you know, all the measure, like all the guidelines that have been put in place. But it looks like you know, there's still some hope with a face mask on that you can still see
Yeah,
people.
it's crazy. I'm actually surprised. And now it makes me wonder, like maybe under behind they obviously they can't see what's behind the mask, but now it's actually making me more conscious of myself. Like, do I have like, you know, is my resting face kind of, you know, I'm trying not to swear, but you know, do I have resting face, and that's why people don't
Right,
approach me when I'm not in a mask? You know,
right,
what's
right,
going on here? Because really the
right.
only thing that's different is there's a mask on and I'm not wearing makeup.
Right, right. And you know what? Eyes can actually tell a story, you know? Eyes can tell a story.
Mhm.
So I think
Mhm.
that there's so much silver lining in this, eh, Angela? So much silver
Mhm.
lining.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, eyes could definitely tell a story, and I think that there's definitely something there that these gentlemen have been experiencing with you, Angela. So
My mesmerizing eyes above the mask, just
yeah,
smiling
exactly.
and winking or winking. And you know, it's funny because even I smiled at somebody and the person basically looked at me and kept walking. And I thought, how rude. And then
Right,
remembered that, wait a minute, you're wearing a mask. So they can't
right,
see that you're smiling at them. Right.
exactly,
But
right.
it's just kind of funny to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. But no, this was really, really telling. And honestly, like, I'm actually very happy that, you know, there's actually another experience out there that we could explore
Hmm.
more.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Just get on a bus. Just have an
Exactly.
errand to do, get on a bus, and somebody will come talk to you.
Exactly. That's awesome. Very cool. No, you know, honestly, Angela, I really wish you like so much like positive energy and all tons of greatness in your quest for love, you know.
Thank
Being,
you.
seriously, being single in the city, there's tons of fruit to you know, have from that as well, like just being in your singleness. I know we're
Hmm.
all at different stages in our lives, right? Whether we're in our early 20s, you know, late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, early 40s, late 40s, early 50s, you know, we all have different stages of our life, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
you know, because we're in the we are all in our singleness, it's really a time for us to bear those fruits and like be, you know, I guess see much more of the fruit, you know, rather than like just be like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, when is that guy gonna come, or you know, when is that partner gonna come, or whatever, right?
Right.
Whoever.
Right.
There's yeah, like we could definitely take the time to just, you know, treat it as it is, right? Have fun with the experiences and just like, you know, just be free and not.
Yeah. Like don't
Yeah,
close yourself off to anything, you
exactly,
know, and just
exactly.
I don't know. I found the minute that I started to actually enjoy my own company
Right.
was when I started to attract
Love that. Yep,
more.
exactly. That's
I'm
it.
actually getting shivers as I've said that to you. I'm starting to get shivers. But yeah,
Love
the
that.
minute I actually enjoyed, okay, Angela, you know what? You're going to sit here and you're going to actually enjoy the solitude. Um,
Yes.
And after I learned how to do that, everything else has just been gravy.
That is so beautiful. I love that. That's exactly it. And you know what? If you want to go out on a date with yourself, Angela, you know, or like just as women, we could go on a date with ourselves. And if we choose to have somebody, because I was listening to Jeannie Mai, she's such a great speaker. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but long story short, she's like engaged to young Jeezy now. And she's had like this like one of her YouTube series, she was speaking and she was like, you know what, like, I'm just going to go on dates with myself. And if I know somebody and, you know, they want to come along with me on this date, then you're more than welcome to join. Like, you know, like there's no, there doesn't have to be like a certain expectation around it. Like, you know, like I'm here to enjoy like the time with myself. Exactly.
And I've actually done that. I did that for my birthday last year, actually. Got dressed up, like completely dressed up. Bought myself a $75 ticket and went on a dinner and dance date with myself.
Oh,
and had a ball. I had a ball. It was amazing.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. And just enjoy it and no expectations, no nothing, right? Just being strong in your own power, you know? So
yeah. And just enjoying it. Just actually enjoying your power. Because we are powerful people. And I think we need to understand that and not hide it and just be happy about it. We're powerful.
That's right.
We're amazing
people. That's right. Exactly. Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Angela. You rock. Again, thank you so much positivity.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for listening to the podcast series, Dating During COVID-19. Next episode, I'll be joined by Danielle from the Caribbean Women's Society and Caribbean Canadian Parents United. She'll be letting me in on what her experience has been like dating during COVID-19. In the meantime, check out the Caribbean Heritage Month website at ourchm.ca. Learn how you can get involved and preserve our Caribbean Canadian roots.